Good morning. So we've already heard from Jean and Jeremy this morning about the national position with regards to the safe system, and I'd like to explore what that means at the local level. Over the last 2 years, we've been working to support road safety partnerships and authorities across the country in projects looking at performance indicators, safe system training, and strategy creation. On the latter, we've worked with road safety consultant Ian Temperton from Traject to review the structure and governance arrangements for partnerships and create strategies for them, which include delivery plans. All of this is set in a best practice context of evidence, data, performance indicators, targets, and safe system vision. Now we deliver our projects and then we watch the partnerships head off on their own to start the work, the hard work. Many of them come back to us for additional support, check-ins, advice and guidance on how they ought to take those next steps. But whilst we can give a helping hand, each partnership is heading off on their own on the journey. One danger of partnerships heading off alone is that they interpret and implement the safe system differently from each other. Some may stick rigidly to safe system principles, others may cherry pick to suit local needs. Whilst it's quite clear what the safe system imperatives are, and in international guidance cites the actions that are required to deliver a safe system, how those are delivered could be decided locally. Local politics, local resources, local skills could all influence the actions that are delivered, which performance indicators are measured, and which pillars are prioritised. Certainly, the levels of understanding of what the safe system is varied greatly amongst partnerships we worked with, and the levels of buy-in from partners differed a lot as well. Without coordination and collaboration, we could end up with over 40 different flavours of the safe system in the UK. And without training and support, we could end up with misinterpretations of what the safe system is. There could be rejections of the concept because it's too hard to do, or organisations could carry on as before and just declare they're taking a safe system approach. So where are partnerships right now and where are they headed? We only know about the ones we've worked with, but what is the situation in the wider partnership sphere? We had a number of questions that we felt it would be useful to address to be able to identify the current position and to determine what support might be required. So to what degree do road safety partnerships, partnership leaders and practitioners understand the concept of safe system? And to what degree do these stakeholders own that concept? Do they believe they have a role to play in all areas of the safe system? What support do they need and what direction are they heading in? To try to answer these questions, we were commissioned by National Highways to review the position of partnerships. Ian from Traject did most of the legwork. After identifying 36 partnerships and organisations with an identified road safety strategy, he conducted 24 interviews. These were with 16 road safety partnerships, 2 large metropolitan transport bodies, 3 local authorities and 3 police forces. Therefore, whilst it's a sample of partnerships and authorities from across the country, and therefore cannot reflect all of those involved in road safety in the UK, it does include a range of stakeholders involved in local road safety delivery. And actually, these authorities cover 63% of England's population. The interviews took place with a representative or representatives who were best placed to explain the position of their organisation. Now, with this in mind, the views might not be fully reflective of all of their colleagues and partners. The question set used in the interviews was designed to encourage open conversation with key themes as prompts. Right from the outset, partnerships displayed a wide range of cohesion and effectiveness. Funding, local politics and competing partner agendas have adversely affected the position of many local partnerships. Some areas have no partnerships at all, whilst others have one, but it's in all but name. Our opening question was, what does a safe system approach to road safety mean to you? Overall, there were positive responses to this question, with interviewees citing the underlying principles. They mentioned the pillars and the need for a multidisciplinary and multi-sectoral approach. They also linked to Vision Zero aspirations. Just over half of the interviewees demonstrated the understanding we had hoped for. On the other end of the scale, however, 6 interviewees really struggled with the safe system concept. One said, "We don't know anything about the safe system. We'd like to think we're doing the work, but not necessarily within that framework." With others, whilst they felt they had an awareness of what the safe system is, it was clear that they didn't fully grasp the concept. One example of this is a reply which stated that safe system is engineering, signage, and reducing injuries and deaths on the network. Interviewees were asked how much their strategy reflects a safe system approach. A minority of partnerships had structured around the safe system, with one stating completely and comprehensively the whole strategy was written and adopted within a safe system framework. Many respondents made little or no mention of the safe system approach in their strategies. Ian had completed an internet search and a review of published strategies beforehand. In some cases, there seemed to be a nod to the concept without any real substance behind it. And some partnerships are working without a current strategy or a barely recognisable one, with one respondent stating, "What does the strategy mean? Ours is a one-page document." Interviewees were asked how far the safe system approach to road safety is universally accepted across the partnership. In many cases, there is a broad understanding of the safe system approach across the various partner members. Some have held workshops or training sessions to educate key players in the successful application of the concept. One respondent stated that everyone is fully committed to the safe system approach. We majored on it from the very beginning. It is the common ground, the purpose we share. The police are very enthusiastic about the Vision Zero and safe system model. At the other end of the scale, there are some officers who are very much a lone voice in their environment, despite their best attempts to obtain buy-in from colleagues, partners, and politicians. One said, "There's been talk of safe system in various conversations. It's probably from a national level. They don't really understand it, not buying into it at any level." Whilst another said, "If I mention safe system at the next meeting, only 3 of 20 will know what I'm talking about." The middle ground provides a useful insight into the barriers to application. In some instances, the political world have accepted the safe system concept, but practitioners are not fully engaged. One stated that generally there is an issue of finding the time and getting the processes in place to embrace the system. We are too busy doing the day job to make the changes. It's not deliberately ignored, but it hasn't come to the fore as a priority. It all absorbs time in the day. Conversely, there are cases where the officers are behind the concept, but there is a political reluctance to embrace the system. This is often linked to an aversion to Vision Zero. Politicians don't like to promise what they can't deliver, and there appears to be a need to fully explain that Vision Zero is an aspiration and direction of travel, not a target. It became clear that structures are not reflecting safe system approaches. Only 2 interviewees were able to state that their organisational structure was based on safe system thinking, although another 3 are moving towards that position due to co-location and internal practice changes. 2 partnerships are about to embark on a restructuring process to reflect a full safe system approach, but there is no indication how long that process will take. One interviewee stated that they have established safe system working groups, fully structured around it, ensuring that the subgroups don't fall into silos. However, most of the partnerships are not adopting this method of working. They tend to be loose alliances of partners who discuss shared issues, sometimes within a governance framework. Most are still focused on a user group approach, with working groups addressing young drivers, motorcyclists, etc. Inevitably, this does create a silo effect, with different practitioners working in isolation on their own agendas, in some cases not communicating readily with other partners. Interviewees were asked how they monitor the effectiveness of their partnerships activities. Around half stated that they were only using casualty data as their performance measure, with one partnership stating that they weren't even doing that because of the COVID pandemic. There is also a wide range of approaches to target setting, with some partnerships not having any targets, through to some that have recently adopted the 50 by 30 goal. Some specifically stated that there were no performance indicators in place, whereas others described comprehensive frameworks with road safety SPIs at the top, followed by workstream and project monitoring below. It became clear that the sharing of data and information between partners can often be a source of conflict. There are some partnerships who do not have an awareness of the performance of individual partners. This lack of transparency promotes frustrations and does little to encourage effective working practices. For example, one said, "There is no significant evaluation of schemes of work, also not enough shared information around engineering and enforcement. It's not reported back as a matter of course." The questions then turned to delivery, asking interviewees to give examples of any schemes of work that are viewed through a safe system lens. Only one partnership had actually reached the stage of delivering within a safe system framework. There are some other encouraging developments though. One of the large urban transport bodies is instigating a cultural shift within their organisation to consider the safe system approach in project development. A small number of the partnerships are heading in this direction, with some dipping a toe in the water on some trial schemes or projects. For example, one stated, "We're reviewing some local schemes to look at them through a safe system approach, working through some major schemes, looking at tree removal, cycle schemes and a speed limit review. We're also doing trial IRAP assessments in a safe system approach, but it must be followed up once identified." However, for others, the concept is in the background when it comes to delivery, or it's only utilised if it suits immediate needs. So one authority was remodelling a roundabout, and whilst the collision data didn't reveal a pedestrian issue, the design they did use ensured that it did resolve potential pedestrian problems. To justify the changes, they used a safe system approach. When asked what resources are available to the partnership, all but one reported having access to reasonable funding, with many reporting reasonably healthy funding streams. Funding comes from various sources. Some are using surpluses from endors courses. Some are funded by partner contribution, and some by grants from police and crime commissioners and other sources. There are also combinations of these elements. There does seem to be a correlation between healthy funding and good governance, with those more organised partnerships having access to a reasonable income stream. Now, each of the previous questions was scored on the strength of the response. Of course, this is subjective, but there was key content we expected to hear in the answers that would lead to a higher score. So these higher scores are indicated in green, whilst low scores are in red and those in the middle in orange. Each column is a respondent or set of respondents from one partnership. Overall, it can be seen that there are a couple of strong partnerships where the safe system is embedded into practice and thinking. At the other extreme, there are several which have a long way to go. The majority of respondents have started to make progress towards safe system thinking, but there is work to be done. So we now have an idea of where we are with partnerships in relation to safe system thinking, but what next? The final question was, what support might you need to help embed a safe system approach? For some, this was actually a difficult question because it was felt that their lack of understanding of the safe system hampered their ability to respond. But overall, the responses were grouped into the following support mechanisms. A national network. It became clear that partnerships do not engage in peer communication. Safety camera partnerships engage through road safety support, whilst many road safety practitioners benefit from regional road safety GB meetings, but both of these forums are for individual partners. Now, whilst we're not recommending the creation of another tranche of meetings, there is a tangible need to benchmark partnership activities and with neighbours or comparator bodies. A national strategy and focus. This was by far the most consistently voiced need from interviewees. The lack of national targets was seen as a disbenefit by most, with targets seen as a mechanism for unlocking local political support and funding. It's felt that a national focus must provide a clear endorsement of both Vision Zero and the safe system approach. There are differing opinions as to who should provide that focus, with DFT, National Highways and RSGB all receiving mentions. Best practice examples. This concept has been expressed in a number of ways, including a manual for design in the safe system context, a review of current design guides to encompass the safe system approach, case studies, a best practice hub, and a how-to guide. Communication support, both internal and external. There is a feeling that communities have no concept of the safe system approach, and in many cases, senior managers and politicians are also unaware. Nationally focused communication messages to those audiences would be both beneficial and welcome. Expertise. Many practitioners realise that they need support to embrace and deliver the safe system approach. This has been expressed in terms of the critical friend approach or mentoring, but it should be noted that this wish is expressed in the context of practical examples rather than theoretical approaches. Funding and resourcing. Whilst funding is not generally an issue, there is a feeling that adopting the safe system approach will require investment in time and resources. Perhaps speculatively, the interviewees are hopeful of nationally provided grants to assist with engagement. Training and workshops. Specific support in this area was frequently mentioned, with potential subjects including the concept of safe system and also evaluation, data, social media and behaviour change in the safe system context. The audience for this training would be senior managers, politicians and officers, depending upon the subject matter required. So I hope I've given you a picture of what's happening on the ground across England and provided some food for thought on what we as a community should be doing to provide support going forwards. I just want to thank Ian for doing the legwork here, and for Kate Honey and for Jeremy Phillips from National Highways for commissioning the project, but also most importantly the participants for taking the time to respond honestly. So I thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions in the forthcoming session. Thank you.